Back again, Snap Podcast, and we'll get right into it. This week, we are counting down the days. The next time that you hear my voice, there is a significantly increased chance, not 100%, but a significantly increased chance that I'm a father of two instead of just one. Um, we're in the middle of 38 weeks, working on 39 weeks. They're going to try and usher that process along here at the end of this week at an appointment. But yeah, the kid's coming, and it's a good time of year for the kid to come. We've got we're heading into summer. Obviously, teachers don't work during the summer, so that's perfect for the wife. And for me, it is the absolute dead season. Spring ball is officially gone football wise. Um, you're right in the middle of the off season for football. So, podcast wise, people aren't quite as tuned in anyway, even if you're pumping out a ton of content. So, we take a step back on the washed up walk on side. Uh, and that coincides nicely with the kid coming around. So, because I'd like to take a step back anyway for a couple months. So, that's all good. I also just noticed that on the intro here, audio wise, this is week 6 or 7 in a row, maybe 10, that you're not hearing the intro music, and I have to work on that, but it's not going to be today. I can tell you that right now before I even edit this thing. So we'll get that fixed. But yeah, that's kind of large macro life stuff. Kid is going to be coming, and that's good. Competitive CrossFit working out stuff is kind of behind us for now. It's these are the days that we talked about, right? 2 months ago when we qualified for the online semifinals out of the Open, we crushed it. We did our top, we did our top 1,000 in the world, or what was I, 800th or something, and we met that goal. We trained for the semis, weren't able to do them just because of some the body not cooperating, but that's okay because the goal was. I guess okay. Jesus Christ. I guess I'm just gonna yawn this entire podcast too. I'm sorry. The goal was, that we do those, but we weren't able to. Um, the real higher up goal was that we made the semifinals, and then we can kind of work from there next year, with the assumption that we can make it and then do them and then see where we place. So, uh, Ben, j- Ben, just enjoying, some training. As far as the NBD fitness programming that I get, there's still 2 sessions a day that you can fully. I mean, you could go 3 hours a day right now. Uh, Nick and the other guy, Nick, there's 2 Nicks that program for the programming, the plan that I'm on, and they are providing insane programming, to be honest. It's awesome. It's great. It works. There's more than enough. You never need as much as they're providing you. So if you really feel like you're getting shorted, there's always more to do. And my approach to the off-season training right now is essentially try to hit 50 to 70% of any given day that's programmed. And again, like I said, they're programming upwards of, and that's volume wise, like total time wise, right? So they're programming anywhere from 2 to 3 hours of stuff per day. And if I can hit, 60% of that and get 90 minutes 90 minutes in on average. I feel pretty good about that. We can get a lot done in 90 minutes. We can maintain all of our volume and strength and cardio with 90 minutes a day. Obviously, we aren't pushing forward drastically in anything, but you can still make small improvements um, and even just working the body around to a time where I have more rest. I'm not doing 2 a days. I'm getting a little bit more recovery. I can sort of get better in that way as well. We can approach it and get better in a different way where we attack, 2 or 3 pieces a week with ultimate intensity. Just leave you on the ground. I'm about to post a video today of the workout I did yesterday. Just simple, right? Simple stuff that's gonna just smash you into the ground. No reason to stop moving, and really tests your high end intensity of how hard can you go. I think if you touch that 2 or 3 times a week, then you don't need to be doing 5 or 6 pieces a day. You just need to do one every once in a while that burns it down to the ground. So that's the approach that we're taking right now, and I'm enjoying it. I'm feeling pretty damn fit, and that's kind of where we're at. Competition wise, what I'm looking at in the future is realistically the next thing that we're gonna do maybe is the Wodapalooza qualifier again. I don't know if I'll be making that trip again. We'll see. Isaac, who was my partner last year, sent me and Reggie. That was the three of us. We went down and that's the team of three that went and got seventh in the um what was it? I don't know, the RX division in Wodapalooza team. Um they put out the exact dates of when the qualifier will be. Wodapalooza announced those for later this year, October sometime. So obviously that's 5 months away, but uh that's sort of on the horizon as maybe the first thing we'll dip our toes back into. I don't know if I'll be doing the fittest of the coast again. Granted, I know my partner is going to want to, but it'll be tough for me to do both of those. It'll be tough for me to do one of them and get away again, let alone both of them. So we'll have to see what that looks like. Wadapalooza was more fun, and I think we'll probably give that a run, if anything. And then, yeah, maybe some local stuff in the fall. But other than that, we'll just kind of focus on building for next year's open again, which is obviously in February. So nothing too crazy. We're not approaching, any competitions or anything that we need to hammer down on. And again, that's by design because for the next 3 months at least, it's going to be again 90 minutes most a day, and we're just not going to be in peak shape for 3 months. But that's okay. Other stuff happening. Um, let's talk about protein. Oh, fun life stuff that just maybe people can relate to. Starting to get hotter, obviously. It's dipped into the 80s. Not dipped. It's popped into the 80s a couple days at its max temp here in the Des Moines metro the last couple weeks. And my car air conditioning is blowing hot air and it doesn't work. And yesterday, my house decided the air conditioning in my house, the thermostat is not the system is not kicking on to bring it to cool the house down. So if that persists today, car appointment is tomorrow. And if the house thing persists today, we're gonna now have to call out a fucking HVAC guy to come and fix that because can't have a house that's 80 degrees, especially with a newborn. Um, so we love that. We love all that stuff happening at the same time. Nice slap to the face and the wallet, I'm sure. Going to talk about protein briefly today, and I think this is just stemming again. Some of the episodes I do here when I'm not just giving life updates are when it's fitness based. They are what is relevant to me or what has come up in my own personal life, what questions I've been asked. I was DM'd by somebody a few days ago this past weekend, and they asked if I do a protein shake. And the way they approached me and this conversation was weird. They didn't lay out any it was just a very like, "Hey, do you do protein powder?" It's like, "Yeah, I do." So it was just I wasn't quite sure what they were getting at. Um, but I've been asked the question enough, and I've been through enough of those conversations to kind of understand that people are just like this person just wants to know if I do a protein powder and how that works into my day. And I talk about protein all the time on Twitter and all this stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I do a protein powder. I do a shake every day. And he asked for a recommendation. I gave him the same one that I've been doing for the last 15 years since I started taking protein, which is the Optimum Nutrition Gold Standard Whey, extreme chocolate or double rich chocolate, whatever one is being sold at Costco or at the cheapest price on Amazon at the time. And then he hits me back with just 400 grams a week. Like that's it. That was the entire message. 400 grams a week? Question mark. And I was like, is he talking about? I wasn't sure if he was talking about 400 grams a week in protein shakes or if he was talking about his entire diet totaling 400 grams of protein per week. And I responded with, not exactly sure what you're referencing, but I do 200 grams of protein a day. And his response was one that is often met with that amount, or when people figure out that that's how much I eat, and it says, "Oh my god, how do you do that?" And I try to follow the rule generally, and this is what I would tell anybody trying to optimize muscle mass slash body composition, and that is, and this is generally accepted and pushed by every fitness outlet, doctor, professional, expert that I respect and follow, and I'm pretty well versed and deep into the fitness sphere, the fitness ecosystem. I hear all kinds of different opinions from different people. Pretty much everybody at this point is on a consensus, and I think the studies pretty well back this too. We're talking Peter Attia all the way to fucking Jillian Michaels, who was just on Rogan, to Lane Norton, Andy Galpin, um, Huberman, uh, the Mind Pump guys. I mean, anybody, right? It's pretty well accepted that you're trying to get about a gram per pound, or if you're using kilos, it's about a half. Uh, it's about a half. Just use a gram per pound. Fuck kilos. Um, So that's a lot, right? Especially if you for people who are overweight. There may be some bigger dudes who are, 6 feet or taller, and they need to lose weight, and they weigh in the 250, 300 plus range. Um, that's really, really tough to get 300 plus grams of protein. You're basically not gonna do it. So use ideal body weight. Ideal or goal body weight is going to be what you wanna use there, and that way, if you're a larger, just human in general, whether you're male or female, because there is only two genders, by the way. Just throw that in there. I know that just got way that was aggressive, but I just male or female, depending on whether, regardless what you are. If you're overweight, pick whatever weight you think you want to be, or whatever that goal weight is, and try to eat 1 gram per pound of that weight. So if you're 240 pounds and you're a guy and you're like, damn, I really could use, I could lose 50 pounds. Like 190 would feel really good. Try to eat 190 grams of protein. That is like ideal, perfect, like what you should really reach for. What you shouldn't fall below, like as a baseline, as the floor, I personally believe should be about 0.7 grams per pound. So again, easy math, 200. I would never, ever, ever want to be, and I don't remember the last time where I was under 140 grams of protein a day. Now, when you look at the RDAs and the government suggestion or recommendations, I think you're going to see something. I'm not even sure what it is anymore. I think it's like 0.3 or 0.4 grams per pound, which is going to end up being 60 to 80 grams of protein a day. That is like what you need to not see, like, that's the bottom level to not, like, slip into disease and, like, deficiency. That's not optimal. That's just the bare minimum to, like, keep you going. So, don't use that as your recommendation for how much you should be getting. That's like, we need that to live. Optimal is up around that point 7, and really, if you're an athlete or someone who works out a lot or somebody who really cares about their body composition, try to get 1, right? And the reasons for that are because the more protein you add to your diet, assuming you're accounting for total calories, the more the ratio goes up with your protein, the less the ratio is with carbs or fats taking up some of those calories. If you cap yourself at 3,000 calories a day or 2,000 calories a day and you eat 100 grams of protein, that's about 400 calories. You're now going to be eating in a 2,000 calorie diet. Let's use 3,000 because I like that more. Um, you're now going to be eating 2,600 calories of fat and carbs. 1 gram of protein is four calories. If you have 200 grams of protein, now 800 of those 3,000 calories are protein, and only 2,200 are carbs and fats. Same total calories, but what you're getting from those are working inside your body in a much different way. So, that's one reason. It just makes more of your diet a larger ratio of protein to the other two. And the reason that's important, not that the other two are bad, is because the other two are what gets stored in our body as body fat. Protein does not. Excess protein gets pissed out in amino acids. It gets broken down into the amino acids, which would then go into your muscles. If you have too much, which it's hard to, you'll piss them out. It will not get stored in other than maybe in extreme circumstances, and that we'd have to get into like the biology of that. Your body will not take excess protein calories and store them as body fat, convert them to body fat on you. Carbs, absolutely. And fats, a little bit less easy, but still not too hard to convert that to body fat and just throw it right on your gut or your back or your legs or your ass or something, you know? So that's one benefit. The other benefit is this. Uh the easiest way to control your body weight and your body composition is with a pretty fiery metabolism. Like you want your engine to burn hot. Because if you can burn a lot of calories, that provides you a lot of room on the intake side. You now have the flexibility to fuel yourself. Okay. So, how do we do that? That's the whole thing is, oh, I get older and my metabolism slows down. No, not really. The science actually says that until about 60 years old, if you equate movement and calorie intake and exercise, you don't slow down all that much at all. And then maybe at 60, somewhere between 60 and 70 years old, your natural metabolism will slow down by about 10 to maybe 15%. It's not a ton, right? So this excuse or this idea that oh, like when I get into my 40s and 50s, I'm burning half the calories. You might be, but it ain't because you're just getting older. It's because over the last 20 to 30 years since you were a teenager and a college age individual, you've just stopped moving that much and nutritionally cornered yourself by eating like shit and other things like not sleeping and alcohol abuse, like not abuse, but over intake of alcohol and other things. So, um, so we want that thing to burn hot. How do we do that? Again, when you go to bed at night, you go into a state of catabolism, catabolic. That's muscle, not muscle wasting, but that is your body is eating itself essentially, right? Um, when you're eating or in the short periods of time after you feed yourself, you are anabolic, building. Your body is building itself. Um, you need both, right? Both are good. Uh, but in the morning, if the first thing you give yourself is some kind of carb or fat, um, that's not what the muscle needs, not the muscle tissue of your body needs as its primary nutrient. The muscles want they want protein. That's what helps refuel us in the morning. It also is beneficial for blood sugar control, which speaks to our metabolic health on the inside, right? Arteries and all that stuff. And then uh starting your morning off with a good healthy serving of protein is also just great for our satiety, right? We all want to feel full, satiated. When we get hungry, that is the cause for concern. That is the trigger that then causes some people to overeat or snack when they shouldn't or eat something that they shouldn't. So if you can kind of control that satiety with protein in the morning, because protein is super satiating. My best example is don't eat for a whole day. Like do a 24-hour fast and then dig into pure chicken breast or pure tuna or whatever meat. Just pick a meat. It could be ribeye steak for all I care, which is probably the fattiest, like, true protein there is. And even with a ribeye steak, you are not going to be able to overeat no matter how hungry you are if you're just eating protein. It's just really tough. And if you get something like chicken breast or tuna, bro, it is tough to eat more than 500 calories of either of those things. That's coming from a guy who burns 4,000 calories a day, is always hungry, and weighs over 200 pounds. So, using that to your benefit is something that we should probably take advantage of. It's not easy to get in this amount of protein, okay? And um I wrote down some notes here of just kind of philosophically how you have to think about this. One, you're going to have to eat the same stuff and you're going to have to be okay with eating the same stuff every day for the most part. There could be variations within the food, but for the most part, the general food is going to be the same day after day after day. And you're going to have to just be okay with that being the same as every other person on earth that's trying to get their protein in because there just isn't that many sources relatively. You have all of your meats and fish, right? And there's a decent amount of those: turkey, bison, elk, steak, pork, um, all the fishes, chicken, right? I guess lamb. Like you can start to go a little bit more obscure there, but like you get out to about 10 meats. There's fucking 10 meats that you can eat, right? Hamburger. And then outside of meat, you have Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, eggs. It's about it. When it comes to just pure protein foods, that's about it. And even some of those, like cottage cheese, you have fat in there, right? So then you can start to, nowadays with modern, food industry, we have some pretty sick protein options, right? Like you can get protein, I think it's just called Protini or whatever, protein pasta. And like a serving of pasta has like 14 grams of protein in it. You can have like a couple servings and eat like 400 or 500 calories worth of pasta and get like 30 to 40 grams worth of protein. That's really good. That's great for especially for pasta. You can get those protein enriched foods. But that's pretty much how you're going to have to do it. The way you think about it in your day is it has to be non-negotiable. It isn't like, "Oh, how am I going to get my protein today?" or like, "Should I eat protein with breakfast? Should I get some later? How should I get?" No. You have to set it up in your day as here's like when I eat every day, it's based around a protein foundation, and then I throw in the extracurriculars around that. And the way I do that is, again, like I said, every day, 5 eggs in the morning. Non negotiable, I'm eating 5 eggs in the morning every day. Doesn't matter. For lunch, I'm having some sort of meat, and then I'm choosing a carb that works well with that. Most of the time, it's either uh, chicken breast or ground turkey that I have prepared. Um, I would say that's 80+% of my lunches. And then if it's turkey or chicken breast, I'm doing white rice. Occasionally, we'll make a pork loin or a like a large amount of pork loin, and we'll have some of that left over. I like to make some ramen noodles with that, right? In the same portion, about 100 grams of carbs is like a package of ramen. And then I eat that. I eat my pork and my ramen. Today, we made steak last night. So I'm actually gonna use steak as my primary protein for lunch. That's where I start. I could either just have that steak, warm it up, and eat it like last night, like I did, or last night I made it with grilled potatoes. Today, my carb will be a tortilla. I'm going to make steak tacos for lunch. Um, that's pretty much it. Occasionally, I'll have a box of Goodles, which is a super enriched, protein enriched mac and cheese. A box is like 35, 35, yeah, like 35. A whole box of mac and cheese is like 35 grams of protein. I think it's like 500 calories. And usually that's not quite enough, so I'll add a can of tuna just on the side to that. But that's my lunch every single day. It's one of those 5 options basically. Sometimes there's taco meat left over. I'll eat beef tacos. It doesn't get real exotic. The carb matches and fits the protein that you start with. In the afternoon, every single afternoon, usually right after my workout, but if I don't get my workout in or it's in the workout's in the morning, it doesn't matter. Still every day about 2:30 to 3 o'clock, I'm doing a 30-gram protein shake in milk, which is probably like a cup and a half of milk, which is 12 grams of protein, I believe. So a little over about a 40-gram protein shake, milk and powder combined, plus an Oikos Greek yogurt, which is 15 grams. So I'm getting somewhere between 50 and 60 grams of protein as a snack, a deliberate, planned, every single day protein snack at about 2:30, 3 o'clock. And then at night, it varies a little bit more, right? It could be a pasta. That pasta always has a protein added to it, whether it's a chicken or a bake. Like the worst it would ever get is like bacon. We'll do like a carbonara. We'll just throw a whole package of bacon in there. That's a really, really fatty protein. So in that sense, I'm usually adding a serving or two of cottage cheese with my dinner to supplement that protein. Um, Pizza. We like to have pizza every once in a while. With all the cheese and assuming you do it right and you get like a sausage or a meat lovers, something with a lot of meat on it, pizza has a ton of protein in it. We'll do a hamburger helper, which has a whole pound of beef in it. We'll do, like I said, last night we made steak. Sometimes we'll make burgers. Sometimes we'll make our own Alfredo pizza, chicken Alfredo pizza with a bunch of chicken on it. We'll do quesadillas. We'll do tacos. It always has some sort of meat in it where I'm now going to get another. So there's 30 grams in the eggs. The afternoon snack is about 50-ish. We'll go on the low end. That's 80. The lunch portion is always between 50 and 60. So that puts us at 130, 140. And then there's another probably about 60 grams at night. That puts us right at 200 every single day. It is tough to do. It's not. I actually find it extremely easy because it's just what I do every single day. I don't even have to think about it anymore. It's just streamlined. I actually find it easy. But when you're not doing it and you have to switch over to doing it, yeah, it's going to be different and it's going to feel tough. Use shakes or work that protein powder into a healthy dessert recipe. That can help, right? Again, like I said, 40 of my grams of protein, 1/5, 20% of my protein each day comes from a shake. I know some people be like, well, you'd really like to get it in Whole Foods. Yeah, you would, but protein is protein. There's a really, really good dessert I used to make when I was intermittent fasting and then trying to focus on cutting. Oh, where it was basically like a protein, like an overnight oats situation. And I think I don't know, I don't remember the exact um, serving sizes or I guess amounts, but it was old fashioned oats, a cup of sugar free, fat free chocolate pudding mix powder, um, like a cup of almond milk, one serving of protein powder, a little bit of cacao powder, and at one point, I think I was testing out a little bit of sweetener in there as well. So like maybe a little bit of honey or a little bit of some like stevia packets. You mix that around, it's like I think it's literally like 4 or 500 calories. I had it measured out to, and you could barely eat that. You have to let it sit a little bit so the oats can soak up the liquid, and it kind of just turns into a pudding. But that was like dessert and I would eat that for lunch. It was like a 600 or 700 calorie lunch, and it filled me. I could barely finish it some days. And that was after not eating from the dinner before, and I would have it at like noon the next day. And you can mix protein powders, the Ninja Creamy is the big thing of the last, year. Make a Fairlife chocolate milk fucking uh little blizzard thing. I don't it, they're the technology and the recipes are all there. The foods are all there. You can do it. It just takes a little bit of effort. And then the last note on that is it's a lot of meat. You're going to be eating a lot of meat. If you're a vegan, this becomes just fucking 50x harder, by the way. But it is doable. There are vegan proteins, all that stuff. Meal prep the meat in large quantities. So, like, at minimum, I will make 3 days worth of ground turkey. Or, yeah, I guess sometimes I just make two chicken breasts for the current day and the next day. Um, I make the white rice that I eat with those in 4 or 5-day servings at one time in the Instant Pot. That cuts down on meal prep, and so, like, in an hour and a half when I go out for lunch as I'm recording this right now at 9:30, I'm just gonna pull the Pyrex, Tupperware out of the fridge. It's not Tupperware, it's glassware, 'cause I'm healthy as fuck. And just gonna throw some turkey and some rice into a bowl and heat that up. There you go. 5 minutes and it's ready. Take away the the friction point of having to make it all the time, because that is gonna be something that stops you in your tracks as well. So, half-hour rant on protein, not quite, but almost, and that's just, you know, that's just an updated sort of view of how I look at protein, and, um, I take a look at my Instagram, you could see how I look, and if yes, I do a lot of training, I do lifting weights. Diet and exercise are the 2 parts that go into how you look and feel. But I look pretty good. I'm pretty muscular. I have a lot of muscle tissue on my body. I That muscle tissue has jacked my metabolism up to a very high rate that allows me a ton of flexibility. I imagine that most people, given that they wouldn't have to work for it, would take my toneness, my muscle mass, the way my body feels, how much I can eat. They would take all of that. They would desire that, but you have to do it. In other news, played disc golf 2 days last week, so I've now played 3 rounds. Again, all of them at Centennial. 2 weeks ago, I played my first round by myself, um, and only played 7 of 9 holes. This week, got to go out and play the entire 12 holes twice, back to back. My brother Zach came out and played Thursday, Friday, and shot 3 down and 2 down on those 12. And I was last hole, I was 2 down and shot or I was 3 down and shot even par, or maybe I had a no, I shot par on the last one and I was 2 down. So I wasn't able to get it to 3 down on the second day. But my best ever at the Centennial course, and really about what I'm maxing out at, is like I've shot 5 down. I think on a perfect day, I could go 6 or 7 down on that course. And so -3, -2 in my basically first 2 full rounds of the season. We'll take that, boys. We'll take that. We're a little bit dialed. We're gonna keep that journey going as we go, and we'll continue to update you guys. All right, cool. That's it. 35 minutes. Have a great week. I might be a dad of 2 next week. If so, that'll be sick. We'll have a baby. Until then, peace.